Turtle stranding season has begun. We'll tell you what to do if you come upon a stranded turtle. Some fees could be on the rise at Sandy Neck Beach next year. And the Sandy Neck Board discusses a grant to help deal with coastal erosion. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, October 20th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mantle. Turtle stranding season just began. Sandy Neck Beach Park manager Nina Coleman says they rescued the first stranded Kemp's Ridley turtle on Monday.
Stranded turtles come in from now until Christmas, although that's very late. They will be in the tide line, generally speaking, or even in the surf. You want to take that animal, pull it above or bring it above the tide so the tide won't take it. It's best to cover it with seaweed. You want to put some sort of marking nearby, a buoy, a piece of wood, something that will help us locate that animal. And then you need to call your natural resource officer department, depending on what town you're in. The Stranding Network out of Wellfleet, which is the Wellfleet Audubon, is a really good phone number as well. And then the professionals will come out and get those animals. It's really important that we respond correctly. It's very tempting to grab these animals and try to warm them up, and that could be very detrimental. So covering it with seaweed will protect it from the elements, and getting the people out there as fast as possible to collect it and start the process of rehabilitation is really the best thing that folks can do. We are looking for volunteers at Sandy Neck. We really want to up our number of patrols. Last year we had 82 animals. They're coming in the middle of the night. We want to do night patrols. We need folks that want to volunteer with us to go out on those really miserable nights and help us look with flashlights. And if anybody's interested, they can call the gatehouse on that.
Coleman says this early of a stranding could signal a big stranding season to come. Some fees at Sandy Neck could be on the rise next year. Sandy Neck Beach Park manager explained the proposed fee increases during last night's Sandy Neck board meeting.
Proposed fees for 2016. The first thing that you'll see in red on page 1 is a campfire permit fee. I want to make it clear that that would be for the public beach. The way we have written this fee proposal, folks that have an off-road vehicle sticker would have part of that permit would be a fire permit. What we're finding is that the evening Sandy Neck crowd is growing and growing and growing. And it's become a very popular place, and this is a good thing. We have folks coming in the evening. They're enjoying the campfire. It's one of the few beaches that you can have a campfire at. This is parking lot folks. Folks that are parking in the parking lot. It's free in the evening. They're using the bathhouse. Obviously, they're using the concession stand, which again is great. But they are using our facilities. The campfire area is limited to a specific area. It's a smaller area, and it's set up that way so that we can patrol and keep things safe. And we are responsible for patrolling that area and making sure folks are behaving, and that the campfires are being placed safely. What we're noticing is that there's starting to be too many campfires. There are certain evenings where it really is above the carrying capacity of that section of beach. So the purpose of this fee is twofold. One is to try to capture some revenue to offset the costs of providing the service of beach campfires. And secondly, it's to regulate it a bit. So your off-road vehicle folks, when they purchase their sticker, they get handed the rules and regulations. We have a chat with them about what we expect with regard to campfires. And likewise, when somebody comes to get a fire permit, we can educate them on what is needed for that fire, and we can also limit the number of fires through a campfire permit requirement. It's a pretty small fee. It's what we're recommending is a $5 campfire fee, and there will definitely be some revenue generated. In addition, as Tom had discussed over the last couple of meetings, we really believe that we should be receiving revenue further into the evening. So we are, through a policy change, going to be charging for the public beach until 5 instead of 3:30. So that will also start capturing some revenue for that from that evening crowd. So I guess, and I'll just keep going, and then you can ask me questions about it. Page 2, again, it specifies that off-road vehicle permits include a campfire permit, so there was no additional charge or need for paperwork for that particular user group. And then the other change that I'm proposing is an increase in the cost for the horse permit. What's happening is we have a number of folks that have private horse ownership. They come out once or twice. We keep records on how many times every horse or vehicle comes out on a beach. So we have this digital information, and we have 12 right now. We have 12 patrons with horse permits. They've come out 1 or 2 times for the season, and then we have a couple of horse businesses, and they come out multiple times per year. One particular business from Sandwich came out 37 times this summer, 169 horse trips down the beach. They're obviously collecting revenue from that, and we do have services provided that we have to provide for these folks. One of the biggest is emergency response. We do have, unfortunately, quite a few emergency situations that come up with the horse riding. We have to regulate it, etc. And so it seems that the way to try to prorate this is to have a per horse, per ride.
After much discussion, the board voted to approve the fee changes. That proposal will now go to the town manager's office for final approval. CLE Engineering will be looking at ways to deal with coastal erosion on Sandy Neck Beach thanks to a state grant. Christine Player from CLE Engineering talked about the solutions they will be considering.
We will look at various alternatives, and these alternatives we will be presenting at the public outreach so all can understand, what was considered, how we move forward with this. We're looking at the do nothing alternative, which again, I don't think we have to explain very in depth right now. Do nothing, we see erosion, we're very close to that parking lot edge. We're also going to be looking at some soft solutions, and that would be some beach and dune nourishment programs, and that would include 3 different fill templates. So that it would be over a certain length, over a certain height. So we're going to look at varying types of nourishment templates, and through those templates, we can evaluate how long they're likely to be stable, how many years you're buying into the nourishment. Other alternatives that we will be looking at, and we've talked about in the past, are structures. Again, with the sensitivity that we are challenged by the regulations when we get into structures on a dune and within a barrier beach system. We are going to be looking at bulkheads and seawalls as well as stone revetments. And then we'll also look at the sand-filled core bags, which, again, I think you're all familiar with, that we had talked about previously. That's considered a soft and green solution. They're biodegradable. They're not a hard, permanent structure. And then lastly, we'll be looking at an option of managed site reconfiguration.
Player says they will compare each option for cost, longevity, and permittability. As the project moves forward, Sandy Neck board member Peter Sampu will act as project liaison. We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with the Executive Director of the Cape and Islands Workforce Investment Board, David Augustino. We'll talk with Finance Director Mark Milne. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.